literally walk up to Puff and I'll be like, you want to do this? Look, you can't do this, and walk off. Talk about my clothes.
I don't know. I don't know how much he could do. I don't know if he would say anything because he probably signed an ND, a non-disclosure, and he don't want to say anything against Puff anyway because Puff got shit on him.
Gan Deal is revealing the truth about how Diddy turned Fonzworth Bentley into his slave and forced him to do a variety of strange and terrifying things until Fonzworth had to literally flee for his life. Since Fonzworth and Diddy were once close, many wondered why he hadn't come out and supported Diddy, but it turns out the reason is far darker than we could have ever imagined. It seems that Fonzworth began as Diddy's personal secretary and quickly advanced to become his valet and everything in between. Several industry insiders have discussed how Fonzworth had to leave Diddy's toxic influence because it was seriously harming Fonzworth's mental health. I'll tell you what, this is becoming really weird. Did Diddy truly turn Ford Bentley into his slave? And why hasn't Ford addressed this for the whole time? Let's dissect it.
Ask you this. What do you think Diddy and Fonzworth Bentley's real relationship was?
Concubine, master.
Ooh.
Since the investigation into Diddy's alleged crimes became public, fans have been digging up all the dirt they can find on Diddy. In the process, they've uncovered some pretty disturbing information about how Diddy made his former personal assistant Fonzworth Bentley his slave and concubine. Several industry insiders have been spilling the tea on all the creepy things Diddy used to ask Fonzworth to do, and girl, it'll literally have your jaw on the floor. So Diddy and Fonzworth Bentley go way back, like Diddy knew Fonzworth Bentley before he became Fonzworth Bentley. But just to give you some context on how they really met and became close, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Picture this, it's the early 2000s and Puff Daddy has just managed to wiggle his way out of weapons charges after police found a firearm in his car on the night of the infamous 1999 nightclub shooting. Puff Daddy wants to put the past behind him and move on from that nasty business. So he does what anyone would do. He changes his name from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy, but changing his name is not enough. Diddy must present to the public as a completely different individual. Derek Watkins, an upcoming rapper looking to get close to the big players in the game. Derek Watkins was born on February 13, 1974, in Atlanta, Georgia, to middle-class parents. His mother, Harriet Watkins, was a Spelman graduate, and his father was a professor at Morehouse College and School. Derek majored in biology and initially thought he would become a medical professional. But in his junior year of college, Derek realized he wasn't really cut out for a career in medicine, so he decided to pursue a career in entertainment. Derek took up video jockeying, inspired by artists like Leon and Bill Bellamy, who he believed to be movie stars. They also inspired him to try out acting, and he auditioned for the gig, but didn't make it past the first round. However, Derek wasn't discouraged. He decided to go back and work harder at his craft while waiting for his moment. Meanwhile, Derek found a job at a Ralph Lauren store inside the Lenox shopping mall in Atlanta. It was while working there that he met Diddy, and the two of them hiked it off. Remember how Diddy had been looking for a rebrand and Derek was trying to find his foot in the world of entertainment? Well, it was like a match made in heaven. Diddy decided to hire Derek as his personal assistant and valet, and Derek was perfect for this role for many reasons. For one, Derek was a well-cultured and well-mannered gentleman, which many people have attributed to him being from a middle-class background. What many people don't know is that Derek's parents actually sent him to etiquette school when he was younger. In an interview, Derek said, "When I was young, it was a habit of mine to push my food onto my fork. My mama said, if you keep doing that, you're going to etiquette school." Sure enough, she sent me to class, and it was freaking horrible. Now, fast forward to my sophomore year at Morehouse College. Evan Cosby was a freshman, and she invited a group of us to her house. Towards the end of dinner, Bill looked over at me and said, "I like the way you use your cutlery, man." I didn't even know he was watching. I got up from the table, called my mama, and said, "Mama, thank you for sending me to etiquette school." That summer, Derek would later be a huge influence on fashion in the hip-hop scene, inspiring the dapper style and gentlemanly presentation of rappers. He would also go on to work with several other rappers besides Diddy, including Andre 3000 and Kanye West. But in the meantime, Diddy was looking for someone to make him look well put together, and Derek was the man for the job. As for Derek, there really weren't many people more influential than Diddy in the early 2000s rap scene for him to associate with. In fact, according to Diddy's former assistant Gantio, it was while working for Diddy that Derek got the nickname Fonzworth Bentley.
The dude Tony De Niro said, "We gotta figure out a name for you, man. It's gotta be on the level of, those characters." He said, you gotta be like Fonzworth, you gotta be like Bentley. He said, "We're just gonna call you Fonzworth Bentley." And he said, "I like it."
Fonzworth is intriguing because while he was working with Diddy, he always had a neat, well-shaven appearance, exactly what Diddy was searching for. Not only did he start to influence Diddy's style, but he also started to gain notoriety for his distinct, tidy appearance. About Fonzworth, biographer Pooja Boyle once remarked this: "In addition to being Diddy's butler, Bentley was a stylish hip-hop man. Bentley donned Ralph Lauren in the early 2000s, long before Kanye West popularized the look. Bentley wore button-ups back when Jay-Z still wore fitting headwear and retro jerseys. His trademark umbrella, which he consistently carried for Diddy, was part of who he was." Fonzworth began launching his entertainment career at the same time he was working with Diddy. He completed Da Hand's album in 2002. Mr. Bentley Interlude in 2003 marked the beginning of his reality TV career in Diddy's hit series Making the Band. In the same year, he made his acting debut in a small role in the cult classic film Honey, starring Jessica Alba. He was also featured on the Good Day, Good Sir skit on Outkast's speaker box The Love Below. Despite his natural charisma and charm on stage, Fonzworth's main claim to fame was his sense of style and fashion, which led him to work as a fashion and image consultant for many artists. As a result, he was involved in many of their other projects. For instance, in 2004, Fonzworth made a cameo in the music video for Kanye West's The New Workout Plan. He is also credited as a songwriter on multiple Kanye tracks. Fonzworth published Advance Your Swagger: How to Use Manners, Confidence, and Style to Get Ahead, a book about manners, in 2007. In keeping with his reputation, his reality show G's to Gents debuted in 2008. The main goal of the show was to turn guys who were thought of as gangster-like into gentlemen. In the same year, Fonzworth began dating fellow comedian and actress Fawn Chambers, who had parts in films such as Bring It On and White Chicks. Following their 2010 wedding, they would go on to have 2 kids. In addition to contributing to other artists' projects, Fonzworth's musical abilities were put to use when he released his first album Colors in 2011. At the time, both his personal and professional lives were going well, and he was usually content. It seems that Diddy was furious someplace because Fonzworth managed to get away from him. Now, to put things in perspective, there have been several accusations that Fonzworth was much more than simply Diddy's personal assistant and valet. In fact, Jaguar Wright referred to Fonzworth as Diddy's concubine, claiming that Diddy forced him to perform a variety of tasks when they were working together.
What do you think Diddy and Fonzworth Bentley's real relationship was?
Concubine, master.
Ooh.
Jaguar claims that the more important thing to consider is how quickly Fonzworth vanished from the public eye. Come on, at the rate that Fonzworth was going, many admirers thought he should have achieved more mainstream success than he has. I mean, not everyone loves the limelight or wants to live in the heart of Hollywood. Wright believes that Fonzworth's prolonged absence from public media is partly due to Diddy. She even likened him to Maze, another emerging male musician who made a hasty escape from Diddy.
He disappeared. He disappeared faster than Mace did. When Mace ran from Diddy, you could see the trailer just fire from his footsteps as he ran
That is
to
true.
the church. But I don't understand why people don't ask why. People, oh yeah, he gone. Oh, okay. Nobody bothered to ask why.
So Mase and Diddy first met at the Hard Rock Cafe in Atlanta. While Diddy was attending a rap convention in the city, Diddy was impressed with Mase's freestyle rap, and he signed him on a $250,000 deal. Mase would go on to create several timeless hits, with his first debut album, Harlem World, debuting at #1 on the Billboard Pop and R&B LP charts. But despite his blooming career, Mase announced in a 1999 interview with Funkmaster Flex on Hot 97 that he was retiring to pursue a calling from God. He explained that his work as a rapper was leading his people, friends, kids, and others down a path to hell, and that rap was not real and he wanted to deal with reality. Mase also said that he had become unhappy with being a rapper, and that no matter what he did or how much money he made, he would still be unhappy. Like, I get that sometimes artists just don't feel inspired to continue creating music, and they want to step back for a while or even completely retire. We see that all the time, but with Mase, it sounded like something was troubling him deeply beyond the physical, and he wanted to get away from Diddy Bad Boy Records as fast as possible. Many people believe Diddy had tried to initiate Mase into a secret gay cult, and that Mase was scared out of his mind, which made him disillusioned by that lifestyle. After Mase left Bad Boy, Diddy was allegedly so salty about one of his artists having the errand to leave that he made sure Ma got blacklisted in the industry. Even more absurd is the fact that Ma then claimed Diddy owed him money for songs he wrote when he was at Bad Boy. Diddy, of course, rejected this and even referred to May as a bogus poet, but this is where things become murkier. After Mase left, he dropped a diss track aimed at Diddy, where he said some disturbing lines like, "Don't try to starve my kids and give my money to his firstborn. I never pay the artist, but they love to pay the freaks." You know what that sounds like? It sounds like something we've heard many times in all the different lawsuits that have been brought against Diddy. Now everyone and their grandma know by now that Diddy allegedly likes the BBC's and Cassie's lawsuit. She claimed Diddy used to make her hire male escorts and direct her to do different things with them while he watched and touched himself. When Gandil was asked about this, he said he believed Cassie was hiring those male escorts for Diddy and that he was allowing them to use their bics on him. Gene has stories for days. He once talked about how he once accompanied Diddy on a shopping trip, and Diddy went to the adult toys section to get some interesting items. Gene then said that later that day, Diddy and Ja Rule went to a hotel and asked him to stand guard at the door while things got steamy inside. Lil Rod also accused Diddy of having intercourse with multiple men in the industry. From Meek Mill and Usher to Stevie J, the Lil Rod lawsuit is actually crazier because he claims that not only did Diddy brag about having intercourse with different male artists, but he did that to try and convince him to become his side piece. But that doesn't even begin to cover the number of outright crazy things that have come out of the Diddy camp in the last few months. Last year, an old Jaguar Wright interview resurfaced where she said Diddy made artist Christopher Williams go down on him as some sort of power play just to get Diddy to sign him.
Because I don't know. I hope I won't be putting her in danger. But she shouldn't have to feel afraid after all of these years, almost 20 years, you know. But I had to give her a job. I shouldn't say I had to give her a job. I gave her a job. Working for me so she could find some safety, because while she was working at Bad Boy, because she was one of the lead counsels for Bad Boy Entertainment, she witnessed something. She witnessed something that was disturbing to her. But what was really disturbing to her was the conversation that she had with Diddy after. See, Christopher Williams, I don't know, I guess he wanted to sign, I don't know what happened, but Puff was supposed to be giving him a demo deal, and he gave him a demo deal, and I guess it was supposed to turn into an album deal, which that never happened. But this young woman walked in to get approval on some paperwork, see, and when she walked in, the door wasn't locked, so she didn't think twice about just walking in. And when she walked in, she saw Christopher Williams perform a video on Puff. Now, from what she said to me, it was disturbing because, you know, they didn't stop. She just walked out. And she just kept her head down at the office the rest of the day, I believe it was. And I don't think it was at the end of business day that day, but I think it was the following day. He came into our office and was like, yeah, so you came in there, so what? What you gonna do? You gonna say something? And she was like, oh no, she was like, I just don't understand why you left the door unlocked. If you were in there doing that, why would you leave the door unlocked? He said, I'll do whatever I want to do in my building. And I just don't know. He was like, it's policy. I can make a man, he said, if I can make a man suck my dick, I can make people do anything for money. That's what you said, Puff, about Christopher Williams sucking for a demo deal. And you kind of
Now, it kind of seemed controversial when she said it, but from all the lawsuits that have come out against Diddy in the last few months, it doesn't seem like that much of a stretch, especially when you think about the fact that these lawsuits didn't start with Cassie before Cassie. There was Cindy Rua, a woman who used to work as a chef for Diddy. Cindy sued Diddy for harassment, a hostile work environment, and a number of other workplace-related claims, saying Diddy made her work under terrible conditions and fired her when she complained, according to court documents. Cindy was regularly summoned by Mr. Combs to prepare and serve entree and appetizers to him and his guests, while Miss Combs and or his guests were engaged in or immediately following activities. Cindy also claimed that on some occasions she would enter the room to find Miss Combs was undressed, and he made comments about his body and asked Cindy if she was attracted to or liked his body. On top of that, Diddy allegedly made her work from 9:00 a.m. till 2:30 a.m. and was paid only $150. He also allegedly made her go on working trips with him and his family, but didn't pay her any extra fees. What's worse is that, according to Cindy, when she finally complained about it, Diddy set her up in a situation where she could be accused of theft and ultimately terminated. As usual, Diddy denied the claims, but he settled the lawsuit in $209 for an undisclosed amount. If that doesn't chill you to the bone, then maybe the story of several other employees who have sued Diddy for discrimination and a toxic work environment will allegedly show that Diddy either tries to make his employees unpaid escorts or makes them work unreasonable hours. Diddy made him work way past midnight while he was living with him and working on the Love album. On top of that, a woman named Francesca Sparrow, who was fondly referred to as Mom among other bad boy employees, sued Diddy for discriminating against her at work. Francesca worked with Diddy from 1998 as an executive, and she was one of the people who helped him build the company up. But how did he reward her by firing her because of her age and health concerns? In her lawsuit, Francesca claimed that she was fired after undergoing hip surgery and confiding in another executive that she was being treated for substance dependency relapse. Diddy denied the claims, of course, but still settled the $1 million suit in 2011. So it looks like Diddy doesn't have any issues with making his employees do hard labor that was way above their pay grade, and it seems like he did the same to Ford Bentley. But here comes the twist. Despite all the things that allegedly happened between Diddy and Fonzworth, Gandil says the reason why Fonzworth won't say anything about it is that Diddy has dirt on him too. And no, it's not what you're thinking. Apparently, Fonzworth had leaky fingers back in the day, and he could pick up anything from anyone. Gene even once talked about how a pair of JLo's $5,000 shoes once went missing while she and Diddy were dating, and they eventually found the shoes at Fonzworth's house.
I don't know how much he could do. I don't know if he would say anything, because he probably signed the ND, a non-disclosure, and he don't want to say anything against Puff anyway because Puff got shit on him. And I ain't talking about none of that shit. The nigga was stealing, bro. Yo, bro. The niggas are, yo. I don't want to put that on sticky fingers. That nigga right there, bro. Don't lay nothing down around him. You hear me? Don't lay nothing down around dude right there. Dog, Jennifer Lopez had these boots, they cost $5,000. I'm like, what kind of boots cost $5,000? Now you gotta realize, this is like in 2000, early 2000. These boots cost $5,000. And because she was going to be out of the country or something like that, she didn't have them come to her house down in the village because she would have never got it because they'd be stealing her stuff down there at her apartment. So she had them come to Puff house. She wanted these boots so bad. She was mad. They looked through everything trying to find Jennifer boots. Because Puff had like Puff, people used to just give him and send him from everywhere. So he had this mail room in his house with numbers that he never even opened. But I don't know how Fonzworth Bentley found that shit. But we went over there to his house and we found a lot of Jennifer shit and everybody else's shit that belonged to.
Gene Deal revealed that this was the real reason why Diddy fired Fonzworth. So imagine someone like that now coming out to say Diddy did so, and so of course no one would believe him, and he just like a fool. However, fans still strongly believe the reason why Fonzworth disappeared from the mainstream was that he and Diddy had a falling out over him being tired of playing Diddy's side piece, and Personal made another conspiracy about Fonzworth and Diddy was that Fonzworth saw many things he shouldn't have seen while basically working as Diddy's manservant, and he had to run away before Diddy found a way to unalive him. This conspiracy got even more credibility when Fonzworth made a cryptic post on Instagram after he stopped working with Diddy. He shared a quote from Jay-Z that said, "When I get nervous, I tell the truth." I mean, anyone working so closely with Diddy must have seen one or two things that put the fear of God in them. So who knows what Fonzworth saw back then? One person commented on this issue, saying, "I believe it. I'm glad someone mentioned him. Their whole friendship was questionable. There's no way a straight man would carry an umbrella and wipe a man's mouth after each bite of food he eats." Another person said no, Fonzworth disappeared when he saw all that mess Diddy had going on. Then, all of a sudden, Diddy made a public statement. Fonzworth outgrew his position. He saw things and wasn't with them. His frat brothers helped him get out of that world. But do you also believe Fonzworth ran away because Diddy tried to make him his slave?